Previously on Breaking It Down Danganronpa. An ordinary high school boy gets accepted into a high school full of extraordinary people. Unfortunately, this school is not what it seems, and they are thrust into a game of lies, deception, and possibly murder. All thanks to this talking bear. No, I'm dead serious. This is what's actually happening. Will they find a way out of this twisted game? Or are they destined to... You know what, this is starting to sound cheesy. Just roll the episode. With that out of the way, let's jump into the first chapter. Chapter 1, To Survive, picks up immediately where the prologue left off. Everyone snaps out of their shock and realizes that if they can find a way out, they don't have to worry about killing each other. They each open their handbook and look through the school regulations, so that way no more bears will potentially blow up in their face. The regulations are important too, so I'll go over those real quick.
The first rule is...
Students may reside only within the school. Leaving campus is an unacceptable use of time. Rule number 2, nighttime is from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. Some areas are off limits at night, so please exercise caution. Rule number 3, sleeping anywhere other than the dormitory will be seen as sleeping in class and punished accordingly. Rule number 4, with minimal restrictions, you are free to explore Hope's Peak Academy at your discretion. Rule number 5 we got a little taste of already. Violence against Headmaster Monokuma is strictly prohibited, as is destruction of surveillance cameras. Rule number 6. Anyone who kills a fellow student and becomes blackened will graduate, unless they are discovered. And lastly, rule number 7. Additional school regulations may be added as necessary. Everyone gets a little hung up on rule number 6 with the whole unless they are discovered bit, but they decide to explore the place instead, choosing to stay as a group. Except for Byakuya, who is already paranoid about a potential killing. Because of this, he and Mondo get into a scuffle that winds up with Makoto getting punched for whatever reason, knocking him out. Makoto wakes up in a bedroom. He looks around and finds a notepad, a toolkit, a lint roller, a bed, a bathroom which for some reason is stuck, and a key to the room. There's also a note on the wall stating that the water will turn off during nighttime hours and that the girls' bathrooms are equipped with another lock. Also, all the guys get toolkits while the girls get sewing kits. For murder, of course. Because stereotypes get the job done. He leaves the room and runs into Sayaka, literally. She came to get him because everyone ended up separating into groups and will meet up later at the dining hall. Makoto and Sayaka head there and no one has gathered there yet. They finally talk about where they'd seen each other before, and it turns out it was middle school. Makoto is more surprised at the fact that she, being the ultimate pop star, recognizes an ordinary guy like him. The feeling of knowing someone there is calming to her, which in turn also calms Makoto down too. Everyone with the exception of Kyoko show up later. They all gather around to share what they found. Byakuya, Taka, and Kyoko all went on their own. Byakuya went to find out who might be responsible for this whole setup, but no luck. Taka explored the dormitory and didn't really find anything special. But Chihiro and Junko both discovered that the rooms are soundproof, and along with Leon and Hiro, discovered that the metal plates do not budge at all. Mondo, Hina, and Sakura tried to find a way to communicate with the outside world, but no dice. They also tried to break down the door in the main hall, but again, no such luck. Sakura also pointed out that there are stairs leading up to another floor in the dorms, but there's a gate blocking the way. Celeste, Toko, and Hifumi just stayed in the gym because they didn't think they would be able to help. Sayaka looked through the dining hall and found a fridge and pantry that's chock full of food. She also found out that it gets restocked every day, so at least they won't starve to death. Just then, Kyoko shows up and reveals that she found a floor plan, and that this place really is Hope's Peak Academy, with some very obvious renovations. After all this, they are forced to come to terms with the cold, hard truth. They're trapped in an unfamiliar place, with no way out. Well, except for the whole murder and don't get caught thing. There's that. Celeste believes they need to accept what's happening for now because, according to her, adaptability is the key to survival. She also suggests a new rule for themselves. Do not leave your dorm at night. Which makes sense because if everyone worries if someone's going to kill them at night, that will eat away at their already fragile mental states. Everyone agrees to this rule. Taka then adjourns the meeting and everyone heads to their rooms since it's almost nighttime anyway. Makoto, thanks to Monokuma who just appears out of nowhere, also figures out that the reason his bathroom door is stuck is because the door doesn't fit the frame right. But he's able to get it open so he won't have to use like a corner or something. Monokuma makes an announcement that it is now 10 p.m. nighttime and that the doors to the dining hall will be locked until morning. Makoto collapses into bed and falls asleep, lamenting on everything that happened today.
Now, whenever Makoto goes to bed, there's these little side cutscenes called Monokuma Theater.
Essentially, it's just him commenting on the game, or going on weird philosophical rants, or both at the same time. I won't cover these in the video, but they are pretty amusing and offer a quick breather from the story. Makoto wakes up the next morning and goes to see Sayaka. She wants to go and look for a weapon for self-defense, just in case something happens. They go to the room before the gym and find a replica sword with gold coating. The gold coating doesn't stick very well and Makoto gets it all over his hands. Sayaka lets Makoto keep the sword and Makoto vows to protect her should anything happen, which makes Sayaka not want a weapon anymore.
Have you seen Makoto compared to these other guys? And girl? Lady, you need a weapon.
They end up talking a little bit more and Makoto asks Sayaka what her ultimate dream is, no pun intended. Basically, she's already living it. She wanted to be a pop star since she was young to bring joy to people like other pop stars did for her. But to get to that dream, she admits that she did some very unpleasant things to get there. She never reveals what those things are, whether it's something she did on purpose or something she was forced to do. And then,
well, a little interesting thing happens. The game gives us an idea as to where the tonal direction is going. Yes, it is a mystery with whatever the heck's going on at Hope's Peak, and then there's comedy with a little bit of the character interactions. But another thing the game lightly touches upon is horror. Psychological horror, actually.
we don't get a real taste of it here, but there are hints of it. Sayaka expresses that one of her biggest fears is irrelevancy, which, when you live in the world of entertainment, is a common thing. And now, since she's trapped here in the school, she's absolutely devastated at the possibility of losing relevance after working so hard to get where she is and wants to get out of here as soon as possible. And the real touch of irony is that she ended up going to Hope's Peak because success was guaranteed. And I don't know about you, but working incredibly hard on something just to watch it crumble down and not be able to do anything about it is terrifying on a more realistic scale. Going back through this conversation made me realize two things. One, you really never know who could snap and just decide to murder someone because even one of the most supposedly innocent characters seems very desperate to get out of here. And two,
this scene made me realize how much I enjoy Makoto as a protagonist. See, Makoto is a normal kid. He's not an ultimate. But because he's not an ultimate, he doesn't have as much of an internal conflict as some of the other characters.
Most stories these days tend to lean toward the protagonist having an internal conflict and solving it, and even though he's stuck in the same situation as the Ultimates, he has less to live for, to put it bluntly. There are times where you're invested in his story and character, but ultimately he acts as more of a vessel for the other characters' stories. Anyway, after that heavy conversation, Makoto and Sayaka get something to eat and then go back to their rooms. Then we get into another section I'll skip, but let me explain what it is first. It's called free time. When there's not a major story event happening, you get, well, free time. Basically, you hang out with the other students and you unlock special abilities to use later.
You know, in the gameplay part of the game. I just lost the game.
You can also give them items that you can get from a vending machine that you pay for by using coins that you find laying around the school. So, a couple of days go by and Makoto wakes up to Taka at his door. Taka informs him that all members from now on are to meet up and have breakfast just after the morning announcement in order to bond as a group. So they all sit down and eat and share what new clues they found. As in, none at all. Chihiro brings up a theory that the one behind the whole thing could be a known serial killer named Genocide Jack. He's known for killing people in unique ways and leaving the word bloodlust written in the victim's own blood at the crime scene. But again, just a theory, nothing else. Monokuma then shows up to laugh at their faces and lament how no one has died yet. But then he realized, they all need a motive.
And not just the kill someone to get out rule, because in all honesty, they could live the rest of their life there if they had to. They got food, running water, shelter, companionship. The works.
So Monokuma decides he wants to show each of them a video where they get to see what's going on outside the school. Makoto and Sayaka go on ahead to the AV room to watch the video. There they find a box of DVDs with a name on each of them. Sayaka rushes to go get everyone else, while Makoto decides to just go ahead and watch his.
And around this point is where the game starts to get a little hectic. Because the video contains
his family, wishing him luck in Hope's Peak.
That's the motivation. Well, I mean, if you really love your family and it really hits you that there's a possibility you'll never be able to see them again, that could be a strong motivator. Or that. That could be a strong motivator as well.
So, I don't know if this is supposed to be like blackmail or not, but it definitely feels like blackmail.
Makoto Naegi accepted into Hope's Peak Academy, and his family, who supported such a lucky boy. But it seems like something's happened to this family's well-being. Oh boy, this is bad. What could have possibly happened to this family's well-being?
And I don't know why, but this message at the end disturbs me for some reason. Maybe it's just the cruelty of the entire situation being reduced to a game show font.
And yes, you too will be able to find out whether your family's still alive or reduced to a pile of ashes. All you need to do is murder someone that lives in the same area as you and get away with it. Go ahead, do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Everyone else arrives and Makoto points them to the DVDs and they watch their respective videos. Their reaction is about what you'd expect.
I gotta get out of here!
All except for Kyoko, the mystery girl. Meanwhile, tensions rise and Sayaka runs out of the room. Makoto follows her and tries to calm her down while kinda convincing himself to calm down a little as well. He promises that he'll try to get her out no matter what it takes. This calms her down. They go back to their rooms and Makoto falls asleep. The doorbell then rings and Makoto realizes it's almost nighttime. He answers and finds Sayaka. She's even more shaken than before due to the fact that someone tried to barge into her room. Thankfully, her door was locked so no one could get in.
But obviously in a situation like that, there most likely would have been a pissing of the pants. Though in all honesty, if I were to kill someone in this situation, I don't think I would just attempt to break down their door because, you know, one of the rules is not getting caught.
Sayaka gets worried that someone's gonna break the nighttime rules and kill her while she's asleep. Sayaka then asks to switch rooms with Makoto, which is technically not a violation of the school regulations. It only breaks the rules when you're sleeping somewhere other than the dorms. The nighttime announcement rings, they swap room keys, Makoto warns her of the bathroom door situation, and then Makoto heads off to Sayaka's room. There, he noticed that her DVD was in the trash can, but he doesn't want to snoop around too much and just goes to bed. The next morning, Makoto goes to the dining hall to meet up with everybody. Everyone slowly trickles in until they're all there.
Alright everyone, let's do a head count. We just want to make sure everyone's here, you know. Okay, Makoto, cool, you're still being a wallflower. Good, you're good at that. Keep doing that. Alright, Taka, just, yeah, keep standing up straight. That's cool. Hina, how's the swimming? Oh, you're kind of not doing that right now. Sakura, yes, I can definitely see you. I think everyone could see you from here. Let's see, Chihiro, there you are, cool. Don't you change now either. Alright, Hifumi, yep, I see you, that's, yeah, okay, Mondo, I could spot you by the bugle. Let's see, Junko, fashionable as always, you go. Alright, Celeste, yes, you are very recognizable, don't look at me too long. Toko, also don't look at me too long. Kyoko, yes, okay, Kyoko, there she is, she's just busy not saying anything, so, Hero, that's, yeah, that hair, that's, that's something. Alright, Leon, cool, fashionable, Elton John-ish kind of look there, except maybe a little less gay, but yeah, you do you. And Byakuya, I could see you looked like, anyway, is that everyone? Alright, cool, everyone's here. Wait a minute.
So, Sayaka hasn't shown up for breakfast yet, which understandably worries Makoto. He goes to his room to check on her.
And it was around this time that I realized the game doesn't mess around. Thank you, music. Your wonderful chorus has perfectly captured all the emotions I'm feeling right now. Also, I forgot to mention that the blood in this game is pink, so, yeah, that's a lot of blood.
Makoto passes out for the third time and wakes up in the gym. He freaks out again, but he can't leave because Monokuma called them there in the first place. Makoto starts to believe that Monokuma killed Sayaka, but then he shows up and says that's something he would never do. He only hurts people who violate school regulations. He has to remind them yet again that only one of them could be the killer. He then reveals that there's more to it than that. Remember rule number 6? That whole unless they are discovered thing everyone was hung up on? Turns out that they're all gonna have a class trial to figure out who the murderer is.
And don't think we don't know how to weed them out.
How this works is that a few hours after the murder, everyone will gather around and argue and debate who they think the murderer is. Once everyone presents their arguments, everyone has to decide who they think the blackened is by popular vote. If the popular vote is correct, then only the blackened will be punished. But, and here's where the stakes are raised tremendously, if they pick the wrong person, the blackened will run free and everyone else will be subject to punishment.
And by punishment, he means execution.
The trial rules get added to the school regulations. Everyone's upset, but not as upset as Junko, who wants nothing to do with the class trials. Monokuma explains that she'll get punished if she doesn't come to the trial, but she still stands her ground. And then on Monokuma. Monokuma then decides to remind everyone about another school regulation.
I invoke the mighty summon spell! Help! To me, godly spear, Gunyear!
Excuse me, Mighty Spear what? Oh. That.
This wasn't supposed to... Why me?
Well,
Alright everyone, you know the drill by now. Everyone freaks the out and don't know what to do. Now complete with Drowning Pool as our musical guest. Amidst all the panic, Monokuma gives everyone what he calls the Monokuma file, which has all currently known details surrounding Sayaka's death. Monokuma, however, knows exactly who killed Sayaka and how it went down thanks to the security cameras, but of course he won't tell them, because where's the fun in that? He then sends them off on their investigation. Everyone's still a little panicky though, but Kyoko rallies them by bluntly pointing out that they can't just sit here and do nothing. Celeste looks at the file and points out that Sayaka died in Makoto's dorm, which makes everyone very suspicious of him. Kyoko and Byakuya both head out on their own, while Mondo and Sakura go to guard the crime scene. Toko refuses to investigate because she passes out at the sight of blood. Everyone else leaves to investigate, leaving Makoto suspect number 1.
and now we get to some of the actual gameplay. It's still just walking and point and click type stuff, but it still feels like you're doing something.
The investigation segment is exactly what it sounds like. You go to the crime scene, look for anything suspicious, and follow any leads. Any evidence you find will be admitted into your student handbook as something called truth bullets. So the first thing we do at the beginning of every investigation is look at the Monokuma file. The file states that the victim was Sayaka Maizano. The time of death is estimated to be around 1:30 a.m. The body was discovered in Makoto's room in the dormitory. All evidence suggests that the death took place in the bathroom. The cause of death was a stab wound to the abdomen. There was also an injury to her right wrist. Specifically, the wrist appears to have suffered a fracture. Makoto goes to his room to check for anything suspicious.
Besides, the obvious cadaver.
Makoto finds his key on the floor, which makes him wonder how the killer got into the room if the door was locked. He also finds the replica sword on the floor taken out of its sheath and missing some of that gold paint. The sheath also happens to be covered in scratches. The lint roller on the floor, he also noticed, seems to have been used. There's also a bunch of scratches on the walls, the floor, and the bed. Makoto laments that he was just in the room next door, but Sakura reminds him that the room's soundproof, so he wouldn't have been able to hear anything regardless. Mondo also points out that none of the guys have opened their toolkits, as they have no reason to. Makoto talks to Kyoko, who is thoroughly inspecting his room. Kyoko noticed that there's no hairs from Makoto and Sayaka anywhere in the room, which is strange considering they've been there for a few days and Sayaka slept in the room last night. It also explains why the lint roller's been used. Makoto forces down another panic attack and heads into the bathroom to look for more clues. Seeing Sayaka's body makes him realize just how real everything is now. He takes note of the knife still in her and her broken wrist, which has a little of that golden paint on it. He also notices her left index finger is covered in blood, but not anywhere else on her left hand. There's also some writing in blood on the wall, most likely coming from Sayaka's finger. And the writing itself, well...
This is honestly the dumbest moment of the story for me. I'm gonna give Makoto the benefit of the doubt and just say that maybe he's just trying not to panic and not thinking straight or something, but God.
Makoto notices that the writing on the wall has the numbers 11037, which of course means nothing to our protagonist, but if you were to look at the numbers at a different angle, you would clearly see a name.
And he doesn't notice this at all. Kyoko does, but even she's like, figure it out. This is the only time I feel like Makoto is actually dumb. The other times, he's just naive. But here, dumb as a brick.
Kyoko also points out to him that the bathroom doorknob is broken. Makoto lets her know that his bathroom door is also broken and that he and Sayaka were the only ones who knew about it. With this, Kyoko and Makoto separate and head to different areas to investigate. Makoto also takes note that the nameplates on his and Sayaka's rooms have been switched. He heads to the kitchen where he notices one of the knives are missing. He confirms this with Hina as she remembers them all being there last night, but then seeing one of them gone a few minutes later. He then heads to the AV room and watches Sayaka's DVD to see how much pressure she was under. The DVD is very similar to Makoto's, in which it shows something she loves, in this case her pop group, and then cutting to destruction. However, all her friends are collapsed on the ground, and it's never made clear whether they're dead or unconscious.
Well, now we know why Sayaka ran out of the room. Again with the psychological stuff.
He then heads to the trash room, but is blocked by Monokuma, telling him only the student on cleaning duty is allowed, which just happens to be Hifumi. Byakuya also points out that the reason Monokuma keeps the trash room closed would be so that if someone were to be killed, they wouldn't just go and dispose of the evidence. Hifumi is still suspicious of Makoto, but he lets him in the room anyway. Makoto finds a piece of a burned shirt with blood on it, and a shattered piece of a crystal ball. Hifumi also notices that the incinerator is on when it wasn't on the last time he was there. Makoto confronts Hiro about the crystal ball and confirms that it is his and that he may have left it in the laundry room. Then they...
I'm getting tired of waiting. What say we just get started, It's time for the long-awaited class trial! Please go through the red door on the first floor of the school. See you soon!
Oh boy, it's time!
Makoto and everyone else head for the room where the class trial will be held. They all get on an elevator and head down. They wind up in what looks to be like a courtroom. The assigned podiums are all arranged into a circle so everyone can see each other. Everyone's nervous, but probably not as much as Makoto, seeing as how most everyone still suspects him.
And with that, we head into the first trial.
Before the full thing even begins, Kyoko points out the pictures of the dead people, while Celeste points out that there are 16 podiums when they started out with 15 members. Monokuma states that the courtroom can hold up to 16 people, not that they'll be needing it anyway, and that the pictures of the dead people are so they don't get left out.
Well, isn't that considerate? So, now we head into the meat of the gameplay. The class trial is usually a series of mini-games that will help you determine who the killer is.
The first one is non-stop debate. Non-stop debate requires you to listen to everyone's theories and arguments. When you see a highlighted word, you can take one of the truth bullets you found and use that to break a contradiction. The next minigame is Hangman's Gambit. Essentially, pick the right letters to fill in the gaps. Another minigame is Bullet Time Battle. This one is taken in the form of a rhythm game where you destroy people's arguments. The last one is Closing Argument, where you review the entire case and fill in the gaps in the form of a comic. You also have the health bar, which represents everyone's trust in you. You lose health by using the wrong evidence or messing up in one of the games, etc. When it reaches 0, you lose the trial. The stars are your focus. You can use it to slow down time during mini-games, but it will disappear if you use it too long. Thankfully, it regenerates over time. Anyway, on to the actual case. Everyone believes that Sayaka was caught by surprise in the bathroom, but Makoto counters it by showing that there is evidence of a struggle. As for the murder weapon, they determine that it's the kitchen knife that was missing. Some of them start turning on Makoto again, but he points out that Hina was in the dining hall and she didn't see Makoto come in last night. Then questions come up wondering if both Makoto and Hina are in on it together, to which Monokuma says that each murder can have an accomplice, but only those who actually kill become blackened, and he lets slip that there's no accomplices in this case. Makoto reiterates that he didn't take the knife, which turns his suspicion to Hina, but Sakura was also in the dining hall with Hina and she didn't see her take the knife. Sakura also stayed in Hina's room last night because Hina's video scared her.
A boy and a girl spending the night together? It's unwholesome. But I'm a girl. You are? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Hina does say that she saw Sayaka enter the dining hall, though most likely taking the knife herself. All the suspicion goes back to Makoto, but Makoto points out that there's no hair on the floor in his room, which would be weird because it's his room. You'd think you'd find at least a few strands of his own hair in there. Kyoko points out that the killer got rid of all the hair to remove any signs that they had been there. Some still have their doubts, but it couldn't have been him because why would he break his own bathroom doorknob when it doesn't even lock in the first place? It's just stuck. But the killer wouldn't know that because the nameplates were switched around, thus making the killer think that it really was Sayaka's room. This seems to satisfy them. So how did the killer get into the room in the first place? Well, Kyoko presents a note that was written by Sayaka asking someone to come see them in her room. Kyoko also says that Sayaka was the one that may have moved the nameplates. Almost like she wanted to keep the fact that she was sleeping in Makoto's room hidden. The attention is turned toward the replica sword, which the sheath had most likely been damaged from someone attacking with a knife and the sword being used in self-defense. But Sayaka was not the one who picked up the sword because her palms... No, her palms did not have the gold paint that rubs off so easily on them. And also, she couldn't have washed her hands because the bathroom water turns off at night.
So if the person with the knife was the one that attacked first, the person with the sword was using it to defend themselves, and Sayaka wasn't the one using the sword, then... Ew.
Yeah, it seems that Sayaka was the instigator in all this. And the fact that she offered to swap rooms made it seem like she wanted to pin the murder on Makoto. But her plan backfired and the person that she wanted to kill ended up killing her instead. So who's the person that Sayaka tried to attack? Well, if you look at the numbers that she wrote on the wall, then you'll see...
It's like a 7, but it's not.
Because if you flip the number upside down, you'll see that it spells out Leon, you stupid bitch! Add to that the piece of shirt that was left behind at the incinerator, and now you have a very flustered Leon. Leon tries to convince everyone that he didn't do it because you need a key to get to the incinerator, and he was not the one on trash duty, so he couldn't have done it. But Makoto points out Hiro's shattered glass ball, which Leon threw at the switch 30 feet away to turn on the incinerator, and then balled up his shirt and threw that in the incinerator itself.
Which seems impossible, but not if you're the ultimate baseball star.
Everything that brings this theory full circle is the toolbox that the boys got. The doorknob was unscrewed, and there's a screwdriver included in the toolbox. They ask Leon to show his toolbox, of which he responds with complete silence. After this, they all cast their votes, and Leon is the majority vote. And it turns out they picked right. He was the murderer after all. And Makoto is not really satisfied, because that means Sayaka really did try to betray him. Makoto doesn't blame her, or even Leon for that matter. In fact, he looks at the bigger picture and blames Monokuma because if it weren't for him, everyone would still be alive.
But we ain't got no time to deal with that because Leon's got to go get his punishment. And we get to see the whole thing.
Monokuma also makes a passing statement that this is what everyone's been waiting for. A little suspicious, but yeah. So, what does the punishment entail? Well, that's a bit excessive. What are they gonna do? Have a machine pellet him with baseballs? Oh my god, they are.
Let me tell you, I've been in one of those batting cages before and got hit a couple of times with a ball from really far away, and that shit hurt. This, however... yeah, that's gonna kill him.
And it does. And oh boy, here we go again. Everyone freaks out at seeing a dead body. This time, though, they were the ones that put him there. Monokuma says they'll keep doing this until they cut ties completely with the outside world, and that once they learn the mysteries of the school, they'll be glad that they're stuck there. But before he elaborates further, he disappears, leaving everyone in stunned silence. Kyoko then talks to Makoto about Sayaka. Kyoko believes that even though Sayaka meant to double-cross Makoto, she still seemed unsure of her decision and that she was thinking about him in her last moments. And the reason Kyoko knows this is because of the message that Makoto couldn't f***ing understand. She was thinking about how to protect Makoto from any harm coming to him, so she wrote Leon's name down. Makoto promises to carry both of their memories on for the rest of his life and hopefully move on.
And with that promise, we closed on chapter 1. And then there were 12. So yeah, that was the first chapter. We got 5 more to go through, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Also like and comment as well because that boosts the YouTube algorithm as well. Anyway, hope to see y'all there for the next part. Peace.
Danganronpa.